Hello and welcome to another exciting, invigorating, fantastic episode of Depth of Field. My name is Eric, and we're gonna go deep this time because we have the producer of the show and super producer, mega producer, Mr. Benjamin Warner. How you doing? I almost said Ben. Because we were talking off air, we were like, should I call you Ben or Benjamin? And your professional name is Benjamin Warner.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I'll call you Ben for today.
Thank you, please.
So Ben is actually the producer of this whole thing. This is a Beanduck production, and Ben is producer Beanduck, or producer Duck.
Yep.
Right? There's also Julian, who's director Duck, and Liz, who's communications Duck. Social Duck, that's right. And we have Kate behind the boards over there, manning the system. And we're going to talk movies, as we always do. And I'm very excited, actually, because you are a movie buff, right?
I think so. I think I'm a movie buff, yeah.
You produce movies. You produced LARPs, which was a great web series.
Thank you.
You were just talking about you have a reshoot for a short film that you guys are working on tomorrow.
First time ever. First ever Beanduck reshoot.
Uh-oh.
Which
does that mean things are going downhill?
No. Which speaks to something that Eric and I were talking about earlier. It's I think sometimes when people, especially in superhero movies, which we'll get to later, but like whatever, when people hear, oh, there's reshoots on a film, they think it's necessarily because something is going awry. Is that a word?
Awry.
Awry.
Or Ari. I like Ari. Yeah,
Let's
sure.
go with Ari. Ari. But like in our situation tomorrow, it's only because like Julian really wants to have a specific shot exactly the way he and the cinematographer want it to be. Mm-hmm. So why not get it perfect, right? If we could fit it a little bit into the budget, which we're managing to do, we're squeezing it in there, to do a reshoot and get the shot exactly the way they want it. And why not? It could actually be a good thing, Yeah.
Well, then let's talk about what is a producer? Because I think a lot of people are curious. I think it sounds like you're just the guy that makes things happen and that everybody else is doing the work. But
it's so funny, like I'm having such a producer week right now.
Good, okay, perfect.
Like, I feel like it sounds so much more glamorous than it is.
Right.
Like sometimes I feel, especially when you're an independent producer, right? Like we're not part of a studio system or whatever, Hollywood, this and that, whatever. Like Beanduck is a very small company. We produce all of our own stuff. We don't have any big like infrastructure behind us. It's us. It's just us,
Well, except for the 50 people who are standing behind us who are, pulling all the strings.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is a huge production.
Exactly.
Lots of bells and whistles. So
at times, as a producer of a small independent company, like sometimes I just feel like a gopher. Like I'm just.
Yes.
Or I feel like
because you do what you got to do to get it done.
I feel like a handyman.
Okay.
I feel like.
Are you a handyman, by the way? Are you good around?
I am pretty good for a Jewish boy from Montreal. but I'm pretty good actually. In my apartment, like I'm always like putting stuff on the walls. It doesn't look good, but no, I'm just kidding. No, I'm okay. No, but I feel like a handyman. Like I feel like a lot of my job as a producer is just patchwork, like kind of figuring out how to solve the problems that come up day to day. But I mean, listen, more general answer to your question is, from my perspective, even though, like I was saying to you just before we went live, there are many different kinds of producers, mm-hmm. right? But if you're talking about, capital P producer, in my opinion, what a producer is the best analogy that I always give is if you're talking about a sports team, the director is the coach,
yeah.
and the producer is the general manager.
Gotcha.
So the general manager is not making decisions in the game, like telling them which defense to play, which offense to play, when to switch their positions, this and that, whatever. But he has set up everything.
There you go.
You know
And that's the key. So
yeah.
I've done a bit of producing myself.
Fair enough.
But nowhere near the level that you're doing. I mean, you even give courses on what it takes to be a producer.
Sometimes.
And I've always felt that the best way to describe what a producer does is, and this, shout out to my best friend Rob Warsoff, who taught this to me a long time ago. A producer is someone who knows the right people to put in the right positions.
Oh, absolutely.
Like basically, you're there. You're basically surrounding yourself with the most talented people that you can. Of course, you have to deal with budgets and this and that. But ultimately, you're the one who is you're thinking 2-3 steps ahead on how am I going to get this done with the right people.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think a good director knows how to do all of the things that she or he is directing the people to do.
Yeah.
A good producer knows how to find people to do those things.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I think, listen, like, the director in a project, I'm talking about kind of classically like the way a film project works, which is funny because like we directed, the biggest thing I still have directed to date is a web series, which was, I guess you could say, comparable to a TV show, but we shot it, and I produced it like a feature film. Right? So I wouldn't really say I have more experience in the television model of producing. I have more experience in the film model of producing because that's how we've always shot. But no, I think that while a director's responsibility, their responsibility is to make the project.
Yeah.
The producer's responsibility is to take care of everything else so the director can make the project.
Yes,
does that
absolutely.
make sense?
Yeah, 100%. And so Julian, who is another one of our, hi Julian, another one of our Beanduck people here. He's your creative partner in
totally,
all that.
Totally,
He's the director.
Totally. Yeah.
You're the producer. Any producers, like Hollywood producers, that you can cite as, your favorite or influential, or people that that you would like to emulate?
Well, I'm obviously gonna give myself away and potentially lead into one of the topics that you want to
perfect.
bring up today, obviously. But honestly, if I could sit down with anyone for a day and pick their brain, I would love to sit down with Kevin Feige.
Right.
Like, and it's not even just like I've scoured YouTube for every bit of interview or behind the scenes footage or whatever that whenever he's like speaking, and it's such an interesting, story. Being a filmmaker and being a film producer and being a comic book fan and geek myself, seeing someone like Kevin Feige who because he started on the Bryan Singer X-Men movies and the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, not in Marvel Studios wasn't even a thing back then, right?
Yeah,
it was
true. Yeah.
it was just Fox or Universal or Sony who were taking care of all the movies, and then finally when Marvel started wanting to do their own things, they pulled Kevin Feige out of what
was he doing there? He was producing, but not.
He started as an assistant producer and an associate producer, and then he kind of moved up the ranks. He was working as a lower kind of producer on those early non-Marvel Studios Marvel movies, like the X-Men movies and the Sam Raimi movies. Yeah.
Well, speaking of Kevin Feige and Marvel, big announcement today.
Yeah.
There was, first of all, the posters for Endgame.
Yep.
Avengers Endgame came out, and so I guess we're seeing who survived the snap.
Well, that's it, because a lot of the things you can assume, or I guess level one, the people that you saw in Infinity War on screen disappear. Okay, they're gone.
Yeah.
Or vice versa, the people that you saw not disappear. Boom, they're still alive. But what about who plays Valkyrie? Tessa Thompson?
Right, and so she appeared in the poster.
What about Tessa Thompson's Valkyrie? Right. What about what's Black Panther's younger sister? Shuri. What about Shuri? Right? What about all these characters who we didn't see live or die? And now you're seeing the posters come out today, and it's oh, that's big information, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's exciting, and yes, also the featurette that came out today. I will prep you. I will let you know right now. A few weeks ago, when that it wasn't the first teaser trailer for Endgame, but it was the first real the chunky trailer. The first 3 times I watched that trailer, I legitimately cried.
This is not figurative. You literally shed tears.
I am such a sucker for the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Well, I have to say that when I watched, sometimes they got it right, sometimes they didn't, but I really think with Infinity War, I was just, every moment through that movie, I was like, oh my God, oh my God, what?
Yeah.
So, and then the ending, everyone walking out of there going, what's going to happen next? So let's watch the featurette.
Sure.
We're not going to do picture-in-picture. I think
it's just
it's just like a minute and a half or something like that. And I think it's some of the actors talking about their impressions on what. I haven't even seen this yet, by the way. This
Okay.
is
Me
fresh
neither.
for all of us. So
I would have watched it today, but I saw it, so I didn't. So here we go.
So this is brand spanking new, coming at you. It's Endgame, the featurette.
Featurette.
Imagine if, for the first time, our heroes all lost.
What the hell is happening? I don't feel so good. How too tired.
This is no place to die. Thanos had his way, and half of the population of the universe has gone.
Everyone's doing their best to keep their head above water, but it's kind of a losing battle. We lost, and we're not used to losing.
People are kind of still coming to grips with it.
Natasha is a little bit hardened from what she's had to go through.
They've truly leveled us, not just literally, but morally and emotionally.
There was no other way.
The fans' reaction to the end of Infinity War, when half their favorite characters turned to dust, really was indicative of how emotionally connected the world has gotten to these characters.
I don't want to go. I don't want to go.
The good thing is it's always easier to build people back up after they've been broken down. Man, that's what Marvel's great at doing. It's that shred of hope everyone's looking for.
We're in the end game now. I know I said no more surprises, but I was really hoping to pull off one last one.
I like this one.
Wow. Oh, Favreau. So it's Jon Favreau doing it?
John Favreau is listed as an executive producer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Since the beginning of the MCU with Iron Man, and then
that's right. He directed the first.
Jon
Iron Man?
Favreau directed the first and second Iron Man movies.
Right.
And he continues to play Happy Hogan in the movies.
Right,
which is
exactly.
great. I guess he just worked it into his deal, right? He's listed as as EP on all the rest of the movies.
Oh wow.
Totally.
Smart guy.
Or at least all of the movies that Iron Man is in.
Oh, so he basically
Maybe not all of them.
hooked his wagon up to
Louis
Robert Downey Jr.
D'Esposito also is is an EP on all of them as well. You
Really?
know,
Okay.
there's several people. Like after Kevin Feige, if you watch the trailers watch the opening credits of all the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, you'll see the same names over and over again. Yeah, for sure.
So what do you think? Oh, actually, before we get to that,
Yeah.
what do you guys think? Don't
Yeah.
forget, we have a chat. So, we want you guys to participate or precipitate.
Precipitate.
But, let us know what you think. Ask questions to Producer Duck. Ask me questions. Chime in. Let us know what you think. We're going to play some trivia, so guess along with us. Just be part of the conversation.
If you guys want to sound off in chat,
Sound off.
then
there you go.
things won't get too Ari. Anyways,
Hey, you know what? Cheers. Let's drink to Endgame.
Fine.
Here's to you guys. And tell me, what did you think? You haven't seen that featurette yet.
no,
so-
I had not seen that. It's like I get so excited when I hear Kevin Feige talking. Yeah. Well, first of all, I noticed that they didn't use. And I was telling you guys this before, but they didn't use any footage in that featurette that wasn't either from Infinity War or from the Endgame trailers. So
Right.
there's no spoilers in there.
Yeah.
That's fine. Everyone in our studio right now is very hyped for Endgame. Yeah.
Right. That's right. So Zen Robo saying, so excited for Endgame. Elisabeth Neal. Elisabeth Neal, yeah, I'm hella hyped. And
Yeah.
you guys, are you excited? Or is this maybe, have they jumped the shark?
No, you know what? I don't think so. I think, and that's it. See, I'm already going to get to something. That
Yes,
we were
I'm
talking
excited. I'm excited.
That's the difference between,
Marvel and DC?
that's the difference between the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the DCU, okay? Like, Feige and all the directors and Jon Favreau and all of them, they have been building this for over 10 years now, right? They've been planning this. They didn't dive full force in trying to play catch up with anybody. You know what I mean? They have fully and carefully planned all of this out, even to the extent that now, right now, after Endgame and then Spider-Man Far From Home, there is going to be the largest gap between two Marvel Cinematic Universe movies.
Yeah.
Since.
Well, do we even know what's coming after that?
There is a release date set, but no, there have been, okay. For the next,
Geeking out time.
I'm telling you, man, it's bad. For the next 3 or 4 years, there are several dates that have been locked in and confirmed that will be the upcoming Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. And additionally, there are several movies that have been announced that will be coming out, but they haven't linked any dates to movies yet.
Right.
So basically,
which sequels do we know are coming out?
we know Black Panther 2 is coming.
Yeah.
We know Doctor Strange 2 is coming.
Right. I loved Doctor Strange.
I
by the way.
loved Doctor Strange. I loved that movie. We know Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is coming, and they just rehired James Gunn, which I'm for.
You know what's interesting?
Yeah.
That does not seem to have generated any kind of negative press. It all seems positive across the board. For all the complaints that people had about James Gunn,
Yeah.
I get the impression that everyone's pretty much on board. Yeah, he's...
You know what? I think that's probably, it's just my best guess, but like I feel like that's probably because in the period of time between when he was originally fired, as a knee-jerk reaction, but maybe that's just what Disney felt that they had to do.
Yeah.
But I think between the time when he was fired and the time very recently when he was rehired, I think the court of, what's it called? Court of
Public opinion, yeah.
Opinion has judged him. And I think before Disney judged him and ruled that he should be rehired, I think prior to that, the public judged him, and I think they were like, well, I think this is an example where he's kind of...
What was it that he said again?
Served his sentence, so to speak, you know what I mean?
Was this a tweet like from 20 years ago?
It was tweets from 50,000 years ago, yes.
Yeah.
Not that I'm excusing tweets from 50,000 years ago, of course not. I think every action that we... every decision that we make in our lives sticks with us for the rest of our lives, and we have to live with and deal with the consequences. But I think that in this case, it's not that it's like, oh, it was so long ago. That's not what it is. It's that it was so long ago, and he went through the process of apologizing and trying to make up for it a long time ago as well.
Oh, right.
If I'm not mistaken. I don't really remember the full story, but those are kind of the vague details of the story that I remember. You know what I mean?
Okay, so here's another question I have based on that featurette. So, it reminded me, I think probably the moment that most people really felt the most in Infinity War was Spider-Man saying, Mr. Stark, I don't want to die.
Sure. I would agree with you that most people felt that moment the most. Yeah.
Right.
I don't know
Not you?
I don't know if I did. No.
Okay.
But yeah.
But he's coming back, right? Not Homecoming. What's the
Far From Home.
Far From Home. So we already know that he's not turned to dust, or...
Well, here's the thing.
And by the way, weigh in. Let us know.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I would have said, well, who knows? Maybe Far From Home takes place prior to Infinity War.
Could be.
However, Kevin Feige has already announced that that's not the case.
Okay.
But I mean, listen. Is the spoiler in the fact that we've seen a Spider-Man Far From Home trailer, is the spoiler that, what's the actor's name?
Oh my God, I was going to say Andrew Garfield.
Tom Holland.
Tom Holland.
Is the spoiler that Tom Holland's Spider-Man will live on in cinema? Yes, that's the spoiler.
Right.
Is the spoiler that in Endgame the Avengers reverse the da-da-da-da-da? No, that's not necessarily the spoiler. Who knows how that's going to happen? You know what I mean? There have been, I've read so many crazy fan theories, like the people who got dusted actually got transported to another universe, and now there's now in the movies there's going to be 2 Marvel Cinematic Universes, or it's time travel and they go back in time, and that's how they're going to reboot a lot of the characters. Like this is just another. These are not spoilers. This is just like theories that I've read. Like somebody wrote, like they're going to go back in time and reboot things, and that is how, considering a bunch of those performers' contracts are up.
Yeah.
Evans's contract is up. Robert Downey Jr.'s contract is up. that's how they're going to reboot some of these characters. This is the theory that I read, because they're going to go back in time and they're going to change things, and then
okay.
maybe Tony Stark never becomes Iron Man, but this young girl becomes Iron Man or something. You know what I mean? Or like,
but let's look at
stuff like that.
Let's look at X-Men.
Okay.
And the rebooting. Is it that we were all so because by the way, X-Men 1 and 2 I think are my favorite superhero movies.
X-Men 1 and 2 I think are such incredible movies.
Yeah.
And shockingly good, considering how bad the third one is.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But then again, did they reboot? Not really. They rejigged, I guess.
Well, that's it. Is an in-universe reboot a reboot? Because it's not, right? Because like, then in the second one of the new ones,
right,
the Days of Future Past,
yeah,
they send Wolverine back in time, and then it changes events, right? So it's like, okay, so it's a reboot now. So now they're free to do with the future of these characters what they want. It doesn't necessarily have to line up. But it's not a reboot because it's an in-universe.
But
right?
I don't know how you feel, but I don't think they really. I liked Days of Future Past or First Class, but then what was the
Apocalypse?
The one?
You weren't a fan of Apocalypse.
No, and I have a bad feeling about Phoenix, Dark Phoenix
because of all the reshoots.
Right.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I mean, I saw the trailer for Dark Phoenix. Mm-hmm. First of all, I think that it looks like I'm going to walk into that movie. Whether I liked it, disliked it, thought it was a great movie or a terrible movie, I feel like I'm going to walk out of that movie going, at least they fixed everything that went wrong in X-Men 3. Like with the Phoenix storyline.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Right, exactly. That was the one with the Golden Gate Bridge, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
Yeah. And Wolverine's infinitely, exponentially increasing healing factor when he's literally walking towards Jean Grey, who's been possessed by the Phoenix. In that movie, it's not that she's not even possessed.
Bad.
She's not possessed by the Phoenix. It's like something that was inside of her or something. Right. It's very strange. I'm all for like, comic book movies retelling like their own version of what happened in the comics, but it was very weird the way. Anyway, they set it up. And so Wolverine's like walking towards her, and she's literally with her telekinesis disintegrating his body, and he is regenerating. Like I'm like, okay, yes,
that's jumping the shark.
Wolverine
right
has
there.
a healing factor, but that's a little.
We have a comment, by the way. Zen Robo says, I'd love for Thor to become Odin. He's lost the eye, and for a lady Thor to take his place.
That would be sick. That would be sick. That's a good call.
Lady Thor. Who would you like to play the Lady Thor?
Well, so in the comics, correct me if I'm wrong, but in the comics, Dr. Jane Foster picks up Thor's hammer and is imbued with the powers of Thor.
I don't think I want to see Natalie Portman ever again in the Marvel universe.
I don't think Natalie Portman wants to see Natalie Portman ever again in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
You know what? That's just it. Is that Thor? Interesting because
I'll sorry to cut you off, but I will say Natalie Portman got a crap end of the stick there because she got Thor, and then Thor was okay, but then she got Thor 2.
That's right. I forgot she was even in Thor. So the first Thor was good. The Thor 2 was stupid.
And then Thor 3, Natalie Portman's like, okay, I've had enough of these movies. I'm not doing this anymore. Yeah. And then Ragnarok comes out, and it's amazing. It's like, she should have done it.
I think that's my favorite.
Ragnarok of all the MCU movies?
Well, okay. Are the first two X-Men? They're not MCU, right?
No.
Okay. No. Then yeah. Either Infinity War,
Ragnarok
maybe
is a
Black
solid
Panther.
choice.
Oof, that's tough.
It's true. All three movies from last year were like Black Panther, Ragnarok. Wait, were all those from last year? Yeah, Black Panther, Ragnarok, and
Infinity War. They kept upping their game. So speaking of all these offshoots of the MCU, it's so fascinating to me how the different universes are interplaying, and how Sony and was it Sony and Marvel kind of coupled to bring Spider-Man into Avengers.
They made that deal,
And then Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse came out last year, and I was like, really, an animated Spider-Man movie? Is this? And I only watched it recently, not because it slipped through my fingers when it was in theaters, and holy shit! Like it did win the Oscar this year, right?
Best animated feature. Yeah.
Yeah, deservedly so.
I thought it should have been nominated
for Best Film?
Best Feature.
Yeah.
Period.
I think that might be the best
So amazing.
superhero movie so far.
You know, here's what I'll say about Into the Spider-Verse, and especially considering you just said like, oh, an animated Spider-Man movie, like why? That was like your impression before seeing it, right?
Yeah.
I learned very little about producing when I was at film school. I've learned a lot more about producing since film school.
Right.
Diving into the deep end, so to speak. But one thing that's really, really, really stuck with me was something that our professor told us on the first, like literally the first day of class here in Montreal at Concordia. We had this weird, wacky film teacher. He was from Argentina. He like did all these docs in Argentina, all this stuff. It was really, I think he was high every day. But anyways, but he if we have time, I have a second story about him that's very funny. But anyways, one of the first things he said to us, I think the first thing that he said to us in his first lecture, the first day, which literally has stuck with me always, and I tell this to clients when I'm doing production consultations or like with students when I'm teaching, whatever, like all art is storytelling. Mm-hmm. And you want to be like, oh, but then there's documentary and there's experimental and there's this and that, whatever. Yes, but I mean, even in an abstract way, all art is storytelling. Mm-hmm. You can look at a sculpture and there's a story there. There's
Absolutely.
a story that you can see in your mind when you're maybe it's a different story from the sculptor when they were sculpting the piece, but there can be a story there, right? An interpretive dance can be a story. A song can tell a story. All forms of art can be storytelling. Mm-hmm. So basically what my teacher said after he told us that, he said, when you're setting out to make a movie, you have a story to tell. You need to sit down with yourself and honestly, earnestly ask yourself, is this medium that I'm choosing, the medium of motion pictures, is this the correct medium for this story? Or would this story better be told as a painting, or as a novel, or as a theater piece? You know what I mean?
But sometimes you don't know, right?
Sometimes you don't know, but I think the best artists make the best educated decisions.
Okay, good point.
The point
yeah.
I'm trying to make is, I don't think any story has been better suited for the medium through which it was chosen to be told than Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Nice. Okay.
I don't think if that movie was done live action, it would have flown.
No, it was, and in fact, I don't know if this is true. So remember, we had Layla, Marielle Quesney is our guest last week, and it's funny because right after we left, I said, "Oh, I wanted to talk about Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse." She said, "That's one of my favorite movies," and she just started rattling off all this stuff.
Sure.
So one of the things that she mentioned that I thought was so interesting is that, and I'm not sure I have this exactly right. So Layla, if I'm wrong, or if any of you, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe when they brought the animated storyboard to the folks at Sony, the folks at Sony had the foresight, had the bright idea to say, no, this is what we want it to look like. Like this may be a storyboard, but keep it like this. Like they had the artists working on it, and they said, no, we want this to be.
Were they working on the storyboards for a live action film?
No, I don't think so. No,
Okay.
I think they always knew, but they wanted it to be that.
Yeah.
They didn't want it to be too CGI. I mean, they went for, they opted to go not photorealism, which is what...
it had this really interesting style to it, which I think lent itself beautifully to Miles Morales' world. Mm. And then...
As a graffiti artist as well.
As a graffiti artist, as this kid who doesn't really feel like he fits in either space, right? Like in the neighborhood in which he lives, he doesn't feel like he fits in, and in the school that he's attending, he doesn't feel like he fits in. You know what I mean? And even for the vast majority of the film, as Spider-Man, he doesn't feel like he fits in, right?
Yeah.
Until finally the end, where he like really owns it. Oh man, and he jumps off the building. What's that? What's up, danger? That song playing. Oh man.
Yeah. No, the music is great in that.
And I feel like the style, and another reason why I say it was so the choice of doing it as an animated film was so perfectly suited for that story is that you have all of these different Spider-Men, Spider-People coming from different universes, right? And they're all animated differently.
Exactly, and
They're
so
all animated
that
differently,
allowed.
appropriately for their characters.
You know what's interesting is that there's that one scene where they're in the room with his roommate, and they're all like a collection of them all, and they're moving kind of.
Do animals talk in this universe, or am I about to freak them out? Yeah.
That apparently was the most challenging scene to film or to create because
they're all right next to each other. Yeah,
because they're all different styles. Why don't we do a picture-in-picture?
Sure.
I chose a scene from the movie.
Oh, I didn't know
watch
you
it,
did this. I'm so excited.
and we're going to talk a little bit about Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse because I took some notes.
Pour more wine.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to make sure that I have the right info here because there's some interesting things going on the artistic level. So let's have a look. We're going to watch some Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and we'll talk about things that I learned, which I find fascinating.
Oh, the Doc Ock, right after the Doc Ock scene.
Yeah. So, and Doc Ock is so cool. in this
It's
one.
brilliant.
But okay, so first of all, I mean, this is animation style that's never been seen before.
Yeah,
They had 177 animators.
that's insane.
Usually, a movie
That's like twice as many as Toy Story 3.
That's exactly right.
I read your paper. I should have stuck with it and seemed so smart.
Right, exactly. But one thing that's very interesting also is the frame rate. And I don't know if we're really going to, we can't slow it down enough to see, but
Well, it's kind of like almost choppy style sort of thing, yeah.
because normally in animation films, especially these days, let's say it's 24 frames per second,
Right.
every frame is a different image. Now
Or
with
they
this
dou-
movie,
They doubled it or something? Or
well, they did it. Yeah, they did it on
halved
twos.
it? Yeah, right.
So sometimes you would have the same image lasting for 2 frames, which gives more of a pose, which
Yeah.
gives more of a sense of like. And in fact, in this scene, it's interesting because Spider-Man seems, or the Miles seems less. The actual Peter Parker here is on ones. So every.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so that's what makes Miles look that much clumsier is that he's taking longer to do each pose. So, I mean, it's small choices like that. The poses are longer. Something else that they chose to do is called smearing. Now, if there's folks out there in Twitch land who know a little bit about animation, smearing is an old school technique, old school animation that's basically, you might see multiple limbs in a frame. Whereas what they'll do in these kind of top CGI movies is, I think it's called motion blur. Oh, she's amazing.
Best spider person of the film.
Oh, for sure. She's so cool.
Gwanda. That scene was so good.
Amazing. So, so they chose to go with smearing as opposed to.
So what's smearing?
Smearing is like it's an old school style of animation where, let's say, in one frame, in one scene she's drumming, and you will see if you were to stop any of those frames, you'll see her like 3 versions of her arm.
Oh, interesting.
So
Cool.
it gives you just a bit of a different. It's not motion blur or what do they call it? Motion blur, which is more of the CGI way of doing it. This is kind of old school. It looks much more comic booky. It's like a comic book that moves.
Again, another aspect that makes it so appropriate.
And if you freeze it at any moment, and this is something that Layla explained to me, any moment of the movie, you stop and take an image capture, and it's all meant to be any single moment of that movie can be an artwork unto itself.
Absolutely.
There's hand-drawn illustration in every single frame, and so the whole point is it's not supposed to be, you can't separate the scenes from the whole, but if you do, well, the scenes are, you could frame them and put them on the wall.
Right.
And so I thought that was very cool, and if you go back...
Someone buy me an original print of one of those frames,
That's right.
put it on my wall.
And speaking of print, so here's another technique that they used, and I got a lot of this from Inside Cinema, I think. I watched the video, so I want to give them credit. So in comic books, sometimes there would be like a misprint, like the ink would bleed. So they actually purposefully did that in this movie. Cool. If you stop and look at some frames, there's some ink bleeding.
Right.
they use half-toning and dots and hashing to achieve of shadows and things like that. They have also the Kirby crackle. So, Kirby, what's Stanley and
Jack Kirby?
Jack Kirby. So Kirby had a particular style that was called the Kirby crackle, and that would show energy, and that's something that they used a lot.
Cool.
That's a technique they used here. And ultimately, like we were saying, the different characters allowed for different styles of animation, and it just gave them so much license to go crazy.
Yeah.
And it's so entertaining. It's funny because I was with my girlfriend, and I was like, let's watch the spot. She's like, I don't want to watch it. I said, but you're an artist, you're a photographer, you will appreciate this. And as we're watching, she's like, I'm so tense at every moment.
It was so good. It was brilliant. It's crazy to say this, like.
Say it, just do it, own it.
Yeah, no, it's
Assume.
It's crazy to say this considering the superhero movies that came out last year, but it was my favorite superhero movie of last year, maybe even ever.
Because it's so out of the mold. And here is where, I love this, I didn't even plan it.
Okay.
Zack Snyder.
Oh boy.
So Zack Snyder, we just read an article where he was at a panel discussion and he said something along, hold on, I want to make sure that I have the exact right quote.
Sure.
So Zack Snyder's...
He said something along the lines of like,
yes,
everyone go watch Beanduck's projects.
Right, exactly.
Hashtag Party Princess.
So Zack Snyder wants fans to be open to other things beyond Marvel.
Yeah.
Now my first reaction to that is, okay, because he's DC. Well,
Yeah, no, I mean, I think, and we kind of started talking about this earlier, and then kind of left it for the stream. But, okay, first of all, on one hand, conceptually, I agree with what he's saying. Yes, yes, conceptually. People should be open to things in motion pictures other than the Marvel Cinematic Universe. First of all, in superhero / comic in the superhero / comic book genre. Mm-hmm. Second of all, in film in general. You know what I mean? So yes, conceptually, I agree with him. People should watch films that are not just films in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But second of all,
well, life would be boring if it was all just.
Well, of course. Right. But second of all, it's like, he's kind of like, I don't think gaslighting is the appropriate term for this.
What is he? Are you equating him with Trump now?
Don't get me started.
It is patronizing. Yes.
He's creating a fictitious problem, is in my opinion. Mm-hmm. It's like I was just saying to you earlier. Like Us just came out this weekend,
which
right?
I'm going to stay tuned.
Talk about.
My review is coming up.
And like Jordan Peele's last movie, which I guess was his first movie, I think.
Well, they did Keanu, which they didn't. I don't know if they.
But the movie that won him the Oscar
Get Out.
For Get Out, yeah, which I saw, which was unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Really, really amazing. I think, and I hope, but I think this is true. I think that Jordan Peele making an incredible movie like Get Out, winning an Academy Award for it, generates enough hype that then Us comes out 1 or 2 years later, whatever it's been, a couple years later, and he gets friggin' 70. What does it say? They generate
second biggest movie opening of the year.
Of the year,
yeah.
I think it's the biggest opening or second biggest opening or something like that ever of an original property.
Really?
Of a property that's not based on something else.
No. Oh, so in other words,
I think second largest opening.
Okay,
ever, yeah.
that's interesting.
Something
I didn't even
like
know that.
Yeah.
And that's just it. I mean, look at.
And that's not. Never mind Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like I was just saying, that's not even a superhero comic book movie.
No.
In fact, that's a movie, horror, in a genre that rarely has huge blockbuster box office success. Horror films usually don't make the kind of money that action movies or superhero movies make.
Well, I'll talk to Jason Blum or Blum or whatever you want to call him. He might disagree.
Jason
Blumhouse or Blumhouse. I think he was involved actually in. Hold on, I'll figure this out. But basically,
I mean, look at the 50 highest grossing movies of all time.
Yeah.
Do you think more than 5 of them are horror movies.
No, but look at the most innovative, popular movies of the last couple of years. You do have Get Out. You have A Quiet Place. You have.
I haven't seen A Quiet Place yet.
Whoa, that's a great movie.
Gotta see that movie.
Yeah, you really got to see
Have
that.
you seen?
Hereditary?
Not Hereditary. I believe it was called It Follows.
Yeah, that's another great movie.
Love that movie.
So, I mean, Zack Snyder, so go do horror movies because people are doing really interesting things in the horror genre because they've opened it up. They've gotten beyond formulas. Again, I will be reviewing Us imminently.
I gotta see that movie like this weekend or something.
Yeah, you got to see it a couple of times.
Couple of times. Ooh.
Well, that's the whole point. Okay, should we just get to it?
Sure,
Are we
please.
ready for Us? Okay. What do you say? Should we watch the trailer first and then
Please, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I've even chosen.
I just saw Lupita
Nyong'o?
was just on. What was she on? I guess she was on Kimmel or one of the Jimmys. She was on one of the Jimmys or Colbert or whatever. I watched her whole interview. God, she is a brilliant human being.
Isn't she? And she's quite beautiful too.
Well, she's stunning, of course, but she's so interesting to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
I saw the trailer. I'm sure I saw the trailer you're about to show me, whatever. But her interview about this movie, I was like, all right, I gotta see it. I was like, obviously that's what these late night show interviews with the performers and the people involved with these movies is for. But it never really hits me. I'm like, okay, whatever. I'll see the movie or I won't see the movie. But that interview with her, I was like, okay, I want to see the movie now.
No, it's and Jordan Peele, because did you ever watch Key and Peele?
Yeah, of course.
The production value.
My favorite. Do you have a favorite Key and Peele sketch?
I do.
What is it? What's
Continental
yours?
Breakfast.
No, mine is. You ever see the Mexican standoff one?
No, I don't think so.
You know what I'm talking about? You just became a gun for a second. That's so good.
In fact, I was actually thinking I would play the Continental. So I'll check out the Mexican standoff. You check out. But the thing that I always noticed about Key and Peele was the production value. That they always seemed like mini movies put into sketch form. Get Out was a brilliant tour de force.
Yeah.
Let's look at Us, and I've chosen the long version. So this is like a 3-minute trailer, but we got time, so let's watch it.
3 minutes is longer than I can do anything for. Roll the clip.
You know how sometimes things line up? Coincidences? Since we've been up here, they've been happening more and more. It's like there's this black cloud hanging over us.
There's a family in our driveway.
Who is that?
Run.
You people.
It's us.
Rated R.
That's a classic right there.
What does I Got 5 on it mean?
It's about drugs.
It's not about drugs, it's a dope song. Don't do drugs.
Get into it.
By the way, that they took this song and made it into the scariest song that I can remember in a long time. That's that is a testament to his directing abilities. Yeah, and there's Elisabeth Moss and her husband, played by Tim Heidecker.
Interesting. I was just saying, are we picture in picture?
Yeah.
I was just saying before we were in picture in picture, I was like, oh, is that the father? Is that actor the guy who was
Winston Duke?
Winston Duke, yeah. And it's just funny. I just find it funny how like every time I see an actor or an actress like in a trailer or in a movie, whatever, that's not a superhero movie, I recognize them from their superhero role.
So you're obsessed with superheroes.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So listen to where the music is going now. Oh. Well, now we can't hear it. Now it's just that crazy violin sound. Oh man, is it creepy? Oh.
What?
Yeah. Oh, that laugh.
Oh man.
Yes.
Man,
yes.
oh man. All right, I gotta see it.
Okay, so let me.
I will say.
Yeah.
Before my.
That isn't from Key and Peele, the show, but from Rocket Jump.
What is it? The Mexican standoff? Yeah. Oh, really?
Ah, okay.
But it is Key and Peele in it, right? I think so. Okay.
Gotcha.
I will say before I was a huge comic book movie, superhero movie, and Marvel Cinematic Universe movie fan.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, I've always been like a geeky, like, you know, sci-fi, fantasy fan for sure. But for years and years and years, I've been a huge horror movie fan.
Oh, good. Okay.
For sure. Even in elementary school, I had this friend, Jordan Littman. Shout out to
Hello, Jordan.
Shout out to Jordan Littman.
Nice to see you.
We used to have
Happy Purim.
sleepovers like every couple weekends, and we'd watch through the Friday the 13th movies.
Oh.
Freaked us out like crazy, but we couldn't, like, you know, like the popcorn and like holding the popcorn and like, you know, like freaking out every single time like Jason comes out from behind the whatever.
See, I was always more Michael Myers than Jason. I liked the Friday the 13th. But,
also Halloween fan.
Oh my God. And I even liked I loved the Rob Zombie Halloweens, and I even liked the new one that came out this year, and it made me want to go back and watch the old ones.
Okay, I've completely derailed you. Please go back.
Okay, so
Us.
So I watched this movie with huge expectations after Get Out. I mean, Get Out was
it was unbelievable.
And so much social commentary and so breaking the mold and you know, talking about race relations in America, and it was funny, but it was scary and it was tense.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I go in there and I was like, big expectations, but I believe Jordan Peele can deliver.
Yeah.
And I sat there and I watched it, and I'll fast forward to the end because I'm not going to give away any spoilers, but when it ended, I'm sitting there scratching my head, and I'm going, and I turned to the guy sitting next to me, who I don't know at all, and the lights come up, and I was like, did you get it? And he was like, not really. It's the kind of thing where it's almost like either it's so simplistic and there is nothing to understand, or there's a lot and you just really need to go back through it. And my belief is that Jordan Peele would not put, it almost feels like certain things are piecemeal, but nothing is piecemeal in his universe. What I'll say is that it's much more impressionistic than something like Get Out. It doesn't follow a linear pattern the way Get Out does. And so you're left with all these questions. And some of them could be just explained, well, that's just the way it is. But I really don't think that's it. There's, the references to Hands Across America, for example. In fact, when it was over, I went home and watched a bunch of explainer videos and saw that there were things that were connected between Get Out and Us. And basically,
is he creating the Peeleverse? Is he creating the Peeleverse?
I think maybe we have a Peeleverse.
I'm excited.
I like that.
I can't wait for 20 years from now for the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the Peeleverse to have their first crossover. That's it. Captain Marvel's gonna like shoot through a black hole or something, and like the whole universe is gonna collapse in and of itself or whatever, and then they're... What?
That's right. It's already started. It has. It has begun. So speaking of Lupita, this is what, okay, first of all, these actors are all doing double duty because they all play doppelgangers of themselves.
That's what she was so... That's what Lupita Nyong'o was talking about in the interview, and the way she was explaining it got me so interested about the movie. I think that's what made me want to see it. Yeah.
And that's, so Jordan Peele, I saw him on one of the Jimmys as well, and he was saying that he was always fascinated with the idea and petrified of the idea of doppelgangers.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever seen your own doppelganger.
If you watched the show previous to this one, you saw my doppelganger.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
I never even noticed that. But so he thought, well, isn't that a good starting point for a horror movie? And I don't want to spoil anything, but what I can say is that the movie starts with text on screen that talks about this network of underground tunnels that are abandoned tunnels and spaces under the United States or under America, and that people think that they're uninhabited, and so the idea is that these doppelgangers, what they're called the tethered, they're people who live underground in these.
This is so creepy. It's great.
In these tunnels, and
I'm sleeping with both cats in my bedroom tonight. Door closed. We're bringing the litter box in the bedroom tonight, folks.
And I won't say how or why they come out from where they are, but as you can see, plainly they do, and they are the mirror. They're like the bad versions of us, and they're bent.
I'm the bad version. JT's the good version.
JT?
John
exactly.
Silver.
Yeah.
We call him JT.
Okay, gotcha. And it is social commentary. It is, this time it's not as much race relations, but more about class and how, there's upper class and lower class, and who's our worst enemy? It's ourselves. And the young girl at the beginning of the movie ends up in a house of mirrors, and you saw that scene where she comes across, and it's not a mirror reflection, it's somebody else who's her doppelganger.
Yeah.
And again, I can't get into all the reasons and all the things that happened, especially the punch at the end. But not only were myself and my seatmate confused, but when I walked out of the theater, everyone outside, it was like strangers. We're all talking to each other, trying to understand, trying to put the pieces together. And I think that's the mark of a good movie.
I was just about to react to what you're saying right now. I was just about to go, fuck, I love movies.
And that's the point of this show. Depth of field, fuck, I love movies. That should be our tagline.
Come on, man. You want to where are we in society that people are just going to movies, eating their fucking popcorn, sitting in their seat, burping and farting and
right. It's one and done.
I'm just describing myself as I watch a movie, obviously. But and it's like, oh, God, where's the post-credit scene? And obviously I'm a huge Marvel Cinematic Universe fan. I'm self-judging here right now. But and it's just like this factory assembly line of yes, next. Where's this stopping and talking about the art form of filmmaking?
And that he's a brilliant director in that sense. The use of music.
He's creating a conversation. Yeah.
He's creating a conversation.
Yeah.
He is thinking about the second viewing. Maybe that's pretentious. I don't think so. Maybe people would say, well, you're a little full of yourself if you think people are going to watch it a second time. But
not at all.
I have to go back and watch it again to now apply a bit like Fight Club or Usual Suspects.
Movies that people would call me crazy, in my opinion, for loving even more the second time I watched it.
This is that.
The Matrix.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sixth Sense.
Yes.
I love you. There's absolutely something to watching The Matrix the first time, never having seen it before. There's something to the element of the blue pill and the red pill and not knowing what's going on, and that massive discovery of what the Matrix is and understanding it finally when it comes to you.
Or Fight Club when he's having a fight with himself in the office.
Yeah. But there's also something to being in on it. And watching it a second time and being in on it, and you're watching everyone watch, and you're like, oh my God. Well, I am so bad. I really try hard, but I'm so bad bringing people to movies.
Because you ruin it?
No, I don't ruin it, but I'm sitting there with you, I'm like, yo, Eric, I just saw Spider-Verse, you gotta come see Spider-Verse with me. And then I saw Spider-Verse twice in theaters because I brought someone with me the second time who I was like, you need to see this movie. And she's sitting next to me, I'm sitting here and I'm watching, and I just kept turning to her watching her watch the movie, because I'm like, I want to see her reactions and all this stuff, because all the moments that are going to happen,
Well, this is, I can't wait I need to see this movie again, because I need to understand.
Eric and I are going to see this movie as soon as this.
Next week? Oh.
No, as soon as this stream ends, we're going to see.
Well, you know what I'm seeing tomorrow night? What? I think, if I'm not mistaken, I'm going to see Pet Sematary. Speaking of horrors.
What's Pet Sematary? Oh, that's another horror
Stephen
movie.
King-
Oh,
yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Which I'll probably review next week. But this is something I need to see again. I think it's a movie that stays with you. It's a movie that grows as you think about it. There is so much symbolism. There is so much, over the, hammer over the head symbolism.
Sure.
It's called Us, but that also stands for US. And, at one point, there's all these people, doing kind of the hands across America, and it almost looks like a wall separating, there are obvious things, and there are less obvious things, there's also a lot of humor, which was the case in Get Out.
Get Out as well, yeah.
And so he's building worlds, he's creating tone. Some people may come out of there and feel that it was just a bunch of things thrown together that don't have a glue, that there was like, okay, yeah, but what about this, and why did they have that, and what? But this is a movie. This is the experience of going to see a movie. This is my answer to Zack Snyder's comment that it's not just Marvel or nothing. It's not just formula. You just have to find people who are doing interesting movies.
Zach, buddy, listen. Just because people aren't watching your movies anymore doesn't mean people are only going to see Marvel Cinematic Universe movies.
Yeah, exactly. If any of you guys or gals or people have seen Us, let us know what you think. I would love to have like a larger discussion about that. I think we're going to get to some. Oh,
flip. Let's flip the interview just for a second. I have a question for you.
Okay.
Talking about seeing multiple viewings in theater.
Mm-hmm.
What's the movie? Yeah. What's the movie you've seen most in theaters?
Oof. In theaters.
And how many times did you see said movie? An approximation.
Either Rocky 3 or Rocky 4.
Okay. How many times did you see them in theaters?
5 maybe at most. But I think you could beat me. You saw something 30 times, was it? 20 times?
No.
15, 13.
I saw 8 times in theater, and on two occasions, twice in one day.
What? Which one?
Team America World Police.
Durka.
Team America World Police is legitimately in my top 5 movies of all time.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, give me your top 5.
I don't know.
We don't do this enough on this show.
I don't know.
Give us your top 5 too.
I'll try to just list in no particular order some of my favorite movies.
Okay.
Team America World Police.
Great movie. I'm in.
Wayne's World.
Great choice. Love it.
I gotta go. The Dark Knight.
Okay. Yeah.
But also, Batman Returns.
Which one was Returns? That's
Catwoman.
That's Catwoman?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Are we talking
Tim Burton? Catwoman.
Tim Burton.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Michelle Pfeiffer.
And who was Batman in that one? Was that Michael Keaton?
Michael Keaton.
Okay. Yeah.
Michael Keaton. I would have to say. I gotta say Spider-Verse. I gotta say Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Cool.
And I gotta throw one MCU movie in there. So I'll say.
Well, wait a minute. Oh, MCU, right? Because
Marvel Cinematic Universe. I will say. Captain America: Civil War.
Okay. Yeah.
No. Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier was better.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
You heard it here, folks.
Nice.
I think Winter Soldier was actually better than Civil War.
So you're 5 in no particular order.
Was that 5? There.
World Police.
Wayne's World.
Batman Begins. Batman Returns.
Batman Returns and The Dark Knight.
And The Dark Knight.
Captain America: Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
And 6th for good luck.
Into the Spider-Verse.
Into the Spider-Verse. There.
Okay. I'm gonna try. Dazed and Confused.
Okay, brilliant.
True Romance.
Yep.
Baraka.
Oh, I want to. Okay, that's in my top 10. Done.
Okay, there you
Baraka
go.
is brilliant.
If you haven't seen Baraka.
Talk about all art is storytelling.
Yes.
Baraka is a brilliant masterwork of storytelling.
With no words.
Not a single word in the whole movie.
By the way, have you ever seen a movie called Life in a Day?
No.
So this was a really cool, it's not necessarily in my top 5.
I want to go watch Baraka right now. I have it on DVD.
You ever see Samsara, which was the continuation?
No.
There's a second one. It came out like 4 years
By
ago.
the same
team,
filmmakers?
same whole thing.
Wow.
70 millimeter.
Wow.
It's basically like, it's almost disappointing because it's so similar to Baraka.
Okay.
But I mean, if
No, it wouldn't be disappointing to me. I would just watch them back to back.
yeah,
That's what I would do.
That's what you should watch tonight. Forget anything else.
Deal.
Go home and watch Sematary.
I'll need another bottle of wine.
Life in a Day was very cool because this is the Scott brothers. So before the death of Tony Scott,
Okay.
Ridley and Tony, the brothers,
Yeah.
got together and made a documentary. Basically,
This is film history I do not know. I didn't know that Ridley Scott was a Scott brothers.
yes,
I didn't know this.
Yes, they were brothers, and of course Tony Scott, who directed True Romance, one of my favorites.
Okay.
So they made a movie where they sent out a bunch of cheap video cameras to people all over the world. I think 5,000 cameras to different people, and had them all film on one day, just their lives on one day. It was July 13th or something like that, and all over the world. And they basically, the heavy lifting was the editing, because they received all this footage
Totally, yeah.
and told the story of life in a day, of a baby waking up in Malawi, and a baby waking up and a
crazy.
mother feeding her baby in India, and then
Right.
a kid eating his breakfast in Tallahassee.
Sure.
And things happen. I mean, what's fascinating is on that particular day, do you remember there was a terrible tragedy years ago at the Love Parade in Germany, where there was people got trampled. There was a stampede, and
Wow.
people got, and that was the day that happened.
Really?
So someone was filming there.
Well, funny. I was about to say imagine that day happened to be like September 11th or something like that. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So
So there
turns out
was-
there was an event on that day like that. Yeah.
There was beauty, there was tragedy. This is,
Yeah.
and it's not in any way a blockbuster. I think it kind of came
Sure.
under the radar, but that is a beautiful movie.
Well, it's like the story of every day on our planet. It's just like how much good and bad is happening every single day. You know?
Yeah,
Interesting.
exactly. I'd have to put a Cohen.
Call me a cynic, but mostly bad. But anyway.
No, there's some good.
Okay.
I hope. There has to be some Cohen brothers in there, but which is?
Yeah, as you were talking, you mentioned brothers. I was like, wait a second. I can't believe I didn't throw a Coen Brothers movie in there. I mean, like, am I being cliche if I say Big Lebowski?
No, but you know what? I think. Oh, wait a minute. I was gonna go Barton Fink.
Okay.
But you ever see the Hudsucker Proxy?
I have not.
About the guy who invented the hula hoop?
I have not.
Oh man, that's classic
Yeah?
Coen Brothers. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's my list. Am I forgetting anything? I mean, none of them are modern.
Did you like or dislike Burn After Reading?
I have a great story about Burn After Reading. I disliked it. I mean, I can't really dislike a Coen Brothers movie except for maybe that one that they did with what was her name? Catherine Zeta-Jones. Not Irreconcilable Differences. Some stupid name.
Can't remember.
So I was doing the junket interviews for Burn
sure.
After Reading.
Sure.
And I was working for an entertainment show at the time. And when you're doing a junket, you basically have 3 or 4 minutes with the actor. It's like an assembly line.
Sure,
and
sure.
they're set up in a hotel, and you have cameras, and you just sit down, and they
Yeah,
say go,
of
and you
course.
have like a floor director type person who's giving you countdowns and,
Sure.
and signals. And I had, who did I interview? One was, oh good, okay, we've got more people weighing in on their favorites. We're gonna get to that. So my interview was with Tilda Swinton,
Yeah.
John Malkovich, and who was the other? I forget who the third one was. It wasn't George or Brad.
Yeah.
But when I got to John Malkovich, and I remember in the movie he's always talking about his memoirs.
Yeah.
So I asked him, some question, if you had to write your own memoirs, what would it be like? And he kind of leaned back in his chair, and he stroked his chin, and he said, was it Kierkegaard, or maybe it was, and named some other philosopher.
This sounds like a John Malkovich thing to say already.
I kid you not,
Yeah.
12 minutes. I had 4 minutes,
Yeah.
all told. He's going on for 12 minutes, and I saw the person behind him working for the studio who knew that there were other. I used to be a floor director. I know all the signs.
Yeah.
I know that this is 15 seconds.
Yeah.
I know this is 30 seconds. I know
Yeah.
10. She was doing things I'd never even seen. There was this, which, but then at one point she was doing this, and she was like that. And
I know what that is, but that's for a different stream.
And I am not going to interrupt John Malkovich while he's waxing poetic about philosophy. But
My God.
so fun interview.
That's wild.
Not my favorite Coen Brothers movie.
So it's
So tell me about this, by the way.
no. It's funny. It's funny because actually honorable mention for me on my list is the Brad Pitt, George Clooney, the first one, the Ocean's 11 movie.
Really?
I liked that movie a lot.
Well, it is Steven Soderbergh, right?
Yeah. But so funny enough, like when Burn After Reading came out, and like then Ocean's 12 came out, which I also liked. Ocean's 13 was crap. But I was in this whole like Brad Pitt, George Clooney, buddy relationship, like loving this whole thing. And I love how it's like, they obviously set it up that way, but I so fell victim to the casting of them two in Burn After Reading.
Right.
And I'm just building up, and he comes, and the thing opens, and he shoots him, and I think I laughed.
Right.
I think I laughed for 4 straight minutes. In the theater, I think I laughed out loud for 4 straight minutes. I'm like, they got me.
Well, the worst...
I'm not saying I liked the movie. I'm just saying that moment
But even
got
at that, the worst the Coen Brothers can do is the best that most other people can do. So we have Elisabeth, who's telling us her top 5. We have The Two Towers, not to be mixed up with The Dark Tower, which apparently was one of the worst movies of all time. The Princess Bride.
Brilliant.
Yes, it's on mine as well.
Brilliant.
Absolutely. Does anybody want a peanut? Sorry, and speaking of Andre the Giant, has anybody seen the HBO documentary about Andre the Giant?
No.
Brilliant. Princess Bride, yes. And I fell in love with what's her name? Robin Wright. And then when I saw her in Forrest Gump, and I was like, it's my Jenny, and there were some drugs involved. So Elisabeth, the
Kate Blanchett.
right,
Oh, yes.
having nothing to do with your name.
Having nothing to do with it.
Okay, yeah.
But it's so good. Please watch it.
Which is it's a period piece, is it not?
She is Elizabeth I.
Right, exactly. She's Elizabeth
But
I.
not Elizabeth the Golden Age. Watch just Elizabeth.
Okay.
That's the first one.
Breakfast at Tiffany's, minus Mickey Rooney.
Everything except perfect movie.
Okay.
Very, very important distinction.
And then you have Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind,
Yeah.
one of my absolute favorites. Was it last week that we talked about Michel Gondry and how his, his practical ways of making movies, and well, he hasn't done any movies in a while. I would love to see more Gondry stuff.
he accidentally got folded into one of those walls in
right,
Eternal
exactly.
Sunshine.
You ever see so there was a DVD collection a couple of years back called the Directors Series, and it was the best music videos of Michel Gondry. Another one was the best music videos of Spike Jonze, and another was Chris Cunningham. And like, if you're a fan of the art of music videos, definitely check that out. Do we have, is there anything else to see in there?
No.
Okay, well, what about you, Kate? She's working on it.
Working on it.
Guys, let us know your top 5. This is fun. We should actually do this with every guest.
Yeah, it's cool.
Let's do a little tagline trivia.
Wait, hold on.
Okay.
Zen
top
Robo,
5
real quick.
from Zen Robo. Kill Bill Volumes 1 and 2. Yes, absolutely. Blues Brothers. Thank you. Black Panther. Nausicaa?
Ghibli, Studio Ghibli.
Studio what?
Oh, yes. Good call.
Studio what?
Like Spirited Away.
Oh,
and-
right. Yes, absolutely. And Night on Earth, a fantastic movie. Who's not Wim Wenders? That's what's his name? Jim Jarmusch. Jim Jarmusch, as some people call him.
Jim Jarmusch.
Yeah, 5 simultaneous taxi rides in different parts of the world.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. Which you've never
Similar
seen this?
to what you were just talking about in terms of, although I don't know if it was like a documentary style thing, but similar to the passing out 5,000 cameras and.
Right, exactly. Although this is scripted and so brilliant. So
Yeah.
this is fun, actually. Oh, the Criterion Collection is.
We can't see anymore.
Can't see anything more. Is
So good.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yes.
This is fun. Please let us know your top 5s in the chat.
I feel like now that I'm like thinking about it, like I feel like there's so many more movies that I love that I really would put on my like best of list. But I feel like even a lot of things like, I mean, like I'm sure you've seen Touch of Evil, but
Which is Touch of Evil again? That's the.
Touch of Evil is Orson Welles' last.
Oh right, okay, yeah.
film
I'm
when he
not
came back
a huge film history guy.
No, well that's the thing. Like I'm not really a big film history guy, but I did go through 6 years of film school.
Right, exactly.
So
Okay.
I did see all those movies, and
Yeah.
most of the time I was like, yeah. But like every once in a while, one popped out at me, and I'm like, oh wow.
So Touch of Evil is.
I wrote a whole thesis paper or whatever I guess you can call it on film noir for like an entire
so you must have loved
semester.
that Spider-Man in the Spider-Verse.
Oh my God, Spider-Man Noir, that was amazing. John Farrell.
John Farrell says, Princess Bride, absolutely. Back to the Future. How did we forget about Back to the Future?
How did we forget about
Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and Shawshank. Shawshank is like the number one. When you go on these like streaming, like if you ever pirate movies and you're looking for the top choices, Shawshank is it. And Shawshank based on a Stephen King movie, right? Or a Stephen King book.
Shawshank?
Or a Stephen King short story. John, let us know, because I feel that John would know.
I thought Stephen King only did horror.
Yeah, but it kind of was, if you think about the story itself, it's sort of supernatural. I'm looking it up. I'm doing it. Shawshank, Stephen King.
It's a short story.
Rita Hayworth in Shawshank Redemption? What is that? Oh, it's a novella by Stephen King from his 1982 collection, Different Seasons.
Fair enough,
there you go. All right. It's a short story. Thank you. So let's get to my favorite part of the show. We're going to do a little tagline trivia.
Oh boy!
By the way, we also have.
I'm always getting them when I'm sitting over there on the side, and now I'm on the show. I'm not going to get any of them.
And we also have some great movie news stuff to come, and we're running out of time. So
okay.
Okay, we'll only do a couple here.
I'll stop talking.
I'm going to give you the choice of a decade, and then we
start like 2000s.
2000s. All right, here we go.
Okay.
Random selections of 2000 film. So the game is, hold on, XOSAABX says Criterion Collection is so good, looking forward to checking out their new streaming service from Criterion.
Tell us about that, how do I pronounce that name? Sosabex?
But that's awesome, a Criterion. Well, what are we gonna do if we have to subscribe to Apple and Netflix and Amazon and Disney and Criterion?
Yeah.
I say just get, the Amazon Fire Stick and trick it out and you can watch whatever you want. Okay, so here we go. Great film taglines.
Oh, did I sit up too tall?
Okay.
Okay. Let's see. Death doesn't take no for an answer.
Final Destination?
Yes.
Okay.
Very good. Okay. A hero will rise.
Oh, come on. Benjamin.
I feel like you would know this. Okay. Is it Brad Pitt? I think it's Brad Pitt. From the year 2000. You're not. Oh, no, it's not. It's not Brad Pitt.
No, it's
you not entertained?
It's Gladiator.
Yes,
Gladiator.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
That I knew.
How about move on.
You said Brad Pitt, and I saw Troy.
Yeah, but
I did the math in my head. I was like, no, it wasn't Troy. It was Gladiator.
12 is the new 11.
Oh, Ocean's 12.
There we go. Okay. Yeah. He's out to prove he's got nothing to prove. This is a little harder. This was an MTV movie that was a surprise hit.
He's got nothing to prove.
His brother wore some really funny pants and starred his brother. Okay, here we go. The brother in the movie.
Yeah.
I said, oh no, it's not his brother. Shit. Anyways, one of the characters in the movie is played by my favorite character in another one of my favorite movies that I should have mentioned. Hey, Peterman, check out the girl on Channel 6, Office Space, which should be in my top 5. No?
What?
Okay, forget it. He's out to prove he's got nothing to prove, dancing to Jamiroquai. Dancing to Jamiroquai. No? Header, I think that was his last name. It was an MTV movie. Napoleon Dynamite.
Oh, okay. Yes, of course.
All right, here we go.
Yeah.
Let's find something else.
How did I not get that one?
Ooh, interesting. A documentary. This might hurt a little.
Inconvenient Truth?
No, but that would have been, that's a good one. A Michael Moore movie.
Oh, is it Super Size Me?
Sicko.
Oh, Sicko. Right, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, wait, Super Size Me wasn't even Michael Moore.
No, that was the other guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Intelligence is relative, and this is a bit of a trick question. Intelligence is relative.
I feel like it's a play on like relatives, family.
But it's not. It's a movie that we talked about already today.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Intelligence
at great length.
Intelligence is...
I'll tell you what. I was going to come up with a concept for this when you were talking. Okay, Hunkaverse.
Hunkaverse?
Hunkaverse. If we're talking about verses, you mentioned Brad Pitt and George Clooney.
Oh.
We talked about it at length. You laughed a lot in the first 5 minutes.
Oh.
Was it Kierkegaard who said?
Oh, is it
Burn after reading it? Yes,
really?
absolutely. Yeah.
Intelligence is relative? That was the tagline?
That was the tagline.
I guess it makes sense, yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Hunkaverse. Why Hunkaverse?
Because Brad Pitt.
Oh, the hunks. Yeah, right.
Exactly. Okay, let's go back to. Should we try 90s?
Sure.
Yeah?
Sure.
Okay.
I feel like I watched my fair share of 90s movies.
Okay, we're going to do 90s now. You ready? All right. Oh, and John Verrill. Am I pronouncing it right, John?
Verrill. John Verrill.
Verrill, like Farrell, but Verrill. Morgan Spurlock did Super Size Me. Thank you. That's
good.
Yes.
Yes. Correct.
Okay, 90s movies. You ready?
Yeah, hit me with it.
All right.
I'm gonna picture the shelves of that blockbuster in Captain Marvel.
Okay. Stealing, cheating, killing. Who says romance is dead? Another movie mentioned tonight.
Oh, True Romance.
There you go.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. For Harry and Lloyd, every day is a no-brainer.
Dumb and Dumber.
Okay.
Man, True Romance is a fucking amazing movie.
Amazing movie.
It's like flooding back into me now.
Do you know that scene between Easy Rider, Dennis Hopper, and Christopher Walken?
Yeah.
You know that famous scene?
Yeah.
Improvised.
The whole thing?
Yeah. They basically they were given the structure and they just and what Tony Scott told them to do is, I want you guys to, you're two of the greatest actors of your generation.
Just go with it.
I want you to outdo each other. Just keep on trying to one-up each other. What a brilliant scene that is. Okay, from zero to hero, Jim Carrey.
From zero to hero, Jim Carrey. I was gonna say Hercules, but zero to hero is, Jim Carrey is, I don't know, The Mask?
Yes, very good.
Fair enough.
All right. Fear can hold you prisoner. Hope can set you free. I love the fact that there's so many references to movies that we've already talked about tonight.
This one too?
Yeah.
Fear can hold
you prisoner. Hope can set you free.
You're giving them to me too easy. It's
All right,
it's Shawshank. It's
get
fine.
ready for Rush Hour. Trick question.
Get ready for Rush Hour?
Yeah.
It's not Rush Hour?
No.
Get ready for Rush Hour.
Keanu Reeves.
Oh, Speed.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Now, Keanu is going to take us to something else, but first I just want to...
Speed, the Bill and Ted. Are we talking about Bill and Ted announcement?
Yes.
Yo,
yes.
come on.
So, but first we have to go back to XOS AABX.
Oh, yes, please, tell us.
The Criterion catalog will be available, including featurettes. Additionally, they'll be programming various themed specials where they license films that will be on their service for at least 90 days, along with interviews, analysis, etc., related to the program's theme. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, XOS AABX. Do we know who you are? Are you?
Do we know?
Huh? It's a random fan. We have random fans. Thank you. We love you. All right.
You are not random XOS AABX. You are you.
No, we love you. We really love you. Okay, let's go to the clip mentioned. We were talking about Keanu. I would like to see something, and then I have a little bit of interesting news.
As Kate's pulling up the clip, I'll just say real quick, like you touched on this really quickly, and I want to briefly give my editorial on this one.
Okay.
You were saying how like, are we gonna have to subscribe to every service and this and that, whatever, I think there's something to be said, certainly coming from the point of view of a filmmaker myself, like people don't understand what things cost.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I think a lot of the times people just see like, Marvel Cinematic Universe, this blockbuster, that blockbuster, whatever. They're like, movies make billions of dollars. Why do people need to? Yeah, but 1% of the movies that come out make billions of dollars.
This is coming from a indie movie producer.
1% of the movies that come out, probably I'm sure I'm pulling statistics out of my ass, but like I think I'm making an educated estimation here, right? 1% of the movies that come out make exorbitant amounts of money.
Yeah.
5 to 10% of movies that come out make back their budget.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest of films are barely scraping together the money that they need to
Or
make
just
to
money
recover.
pits.
What?
Or they're just money pits.
Or they're just money pits.
Yeah.
And the biggest asterisk to everything that I'm saying now, on top of it all, is the fact that even in the blockbusters, 75% of the money that is made, no, way more than that, sorry, 90% of the money that is made goes to the studios, the biggest actors, and the biggest names behind the camera. The director, the production designer, the producers, the cinematographer, the editor, fine. There are 100 other people who have worked in that movie who are getting paid, like, fine, a fair wage, but they're just getting the money for that 3 months that they worked on that movie, and then for the rest of the 9 months of the year, they're struggling to try to find work. So the point I'm trying to make, to sum it all up and to shut my fucking mouth so we can move on to Bill and Ted, is there's a difference in life between necessities and luxuries. Yes, I believe that art and entertainment to a certain extent can be interpreted as a necessity, because what is the point of living without being able to enjoy life? But to have unending entertainment at the tip of your fingers 24 hours a day, I'm sorry, is a luxury. So, like, there are super affordable ways to entertain yourself and have art and culture available to you. But yes, if you want to watch all of Disney's movies and all of the Criterion Collection and all of Netflix movies and all of this and all of that, blah, 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 yes, you should pay for those things.
Oh, I'm not saying you shouldn't. But listen, and I'm okay.
Eric Cohen said, pirate all your stuff. That's what he said.
I'm a musician, and I know damn well that I'm never going to make money from album sales. Yeah. So you just have to find other ways, and it's sad to say that.
Since the whole Napster
and I'm fine with that.
Revolution, whatever,
yeah.
Artists have been having to rely on touring
and merchandise, and
much more than in the past.
Publishing.
Yeah, totally.
But
Benjamin Warner rant over. Let's talk about Bill and Ted.
Okay, fine. We'll get to that. But I will say, though, that Criterion, I think, is a different story. Because if it's Disney versus Netflix versus Apple, and it's all just it just means that we have to divide. I'll pay more, just put them all on one service.
Sure.
I just don't want to have to kind of go everywhere.
Sure.
Rant over.
It's less of a financial issue for you,
it's
more
laziness.
of a logistics.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's fair. As a producer, I can understand. Fair enough.
So let's watch this because this is very exciting news. You grew up in the 80s, right?
90s. Yeah.
I grew up a long time ago, and Bill and Ted's
40s, 1840s.
was big for me. So this is a huge announcement. Let's see. Not even picture in picture. Let's just watch.
Let's watch it.
Hi, I'm Alex Winter.
And I'm Keanu Reeves. And together, we are
Wild Stallions. And we are here at the Hollywood Bowl, where we'll never play.
Never play.
No. But we're here to announce something.
Yes. We want to say thank you to you, the fans.
We do.
Because it looks like we might...
actually...
hopefully...
make a movie this summer.
Bill and Ted 3.
Face the Music.
Yes.
And it is all because of you guys, and so we owe you a huge debt of gratitude, and we wanted to say thank you.
Thank you.
And be excellent.
Be excellent.
Here's the thing. Keanu Reeves is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen, there's the videos of okay, we're going to get to some other top fives, but he has had a rough go in his life, and he still...
Has he?
Oh, like really rough go. And he still...
I think he's doing okay.
Look it up. Like he's doing okay now, but it's been a rough go. He's lost a lot of people who were close to him.
Interesting.
He's been destitute, and he always has the right attitude. And just this week, there was in the news, I love this, that Keanu Reeves entertained stranded passengers after emergency landing. So he was on a flight with United Airlines from San Francisco to Burbank, California over the weekend. They had to make an emergency landing in Bakersfield, California, and basically, instead of just retreating to like his trailer or some makeshift thing, he basically took everyone on a tour. Like he entertained all the other people, and he was awesome. I love Keanu Reeves, and so I'm very excited for Bill and Ted's 3.
Yeah,
I hope this is really going to happen.
Me too.
It looks like it is. So we have only 5 minutes left. Holy shit. This has gone by quicker than any, but I still want to, okay, there's still one video. Let's prep the Scarface one. We don't have to show the alien one. Let's prep the Scarface.
Let's read this and we'll show that, yeah.
So Biff the Boss, love the name, says, in no particular order, Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a couple of repeats in these.
Liz, didn't you say you liked Lord of the Rings Two Towers? You should date this guy.
Requiem for a Dream, nuts. And he says, sorry,
call.
y'all. Come on, Requiem for a Dream is fantastic movie.
Requiem for a Dream is one of the greatest movies I've ever seen, and I can never watch it a second time.
Well,
I can't do it.
My favorite line, maybe my favorite line in movie history, just because of the way the guy says it. I say ass to ass.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Princess Bride. Okay, we have 3, and I'm putting that in my top 5 now too. So we're all there.
Clue.
Clue. Really?
Amazing. Have you never seen Clue?
Like the board game turned into a movie?
Have you never seen Clue?
I think I've never seen Clue.
Oh my God.
Really? Who's in it?
And
Who
there
directed
are
it?
in Clue, Tim Curry plays the host of the
Colonel Mustard or something?
the butler.
Okay, yeah. Oh, right.
Mr. Body, yeah. Clue,
Yeah.
if you watch the right version on DVD or whatever, you get to see all 3 versions of the ending.
Oh.
When Clue originally came out in theaters,
Yeah.
they sent different theaters different versions of the movie.
No way.
Yes.
Wait, like back in this is early 90s, I guess, and
maybe
they were
late 80s,
already on to not spoiling things.
Yeah.
Very smart. I like that. Okay, so Clue, The Matrix, Dark Knight, again, I know.
Yeah.
But Amélie
Poulain,
yes.
the fabulous descendant of Amélie Poulain.
Fantastic movie. What's the name of the director again? Jeunet, I think his name. He also directed one of the Alien movies,
Really?
which is a great segue.
Okay, let's see it.
Okay, so we're not going to watch the Alien. I don't even think we have time, but the whole internet is abuzz because there was a high school play somewhere in New Jersey.
I heard about this.
Do we have the? You know what? Okay, we'll do the Alien one, and then we'll do this because you have to see this. This was a high school.
Oh, the
production.
Scarface production. I've seen the video. Forget the video. Show me the Alien one. I haven't seen the.
Let's see the Alien one.
Yeah.
So these kids made their own version of Alien for a high school play, and everyone in Hollywood and in the Twitterverse is going crazy about it. So let's have a look. We can picture in picture, I think, for this.
Sure.
Look at that.
Oh man!
All made from recycled stuff, garbage, whatever they found lying around. You gotta hand it to the teacher and the students in this class.
Talk about like super creative choices. Like, oh, what are we gonna put on this year?
Right. Romeo and Juliet?
The Glass Menagerie? No, let's do Alien.
Amazing. And then watch on the screen above them, they show, like, how brilliant is that?
That's amazing!
So these kids, kudos to them. They really, really pulled it out of their,
See, that goes back to what I was saying earlier about like storytelling and like finding innovative ways to do things. You'd never think that the original Alien would play well on a stage, but if they made it work, they made it work, and it looks like practically, at least, they did a very good job.
Oh, and the makers of the official Alien Twitter feed was talking about it, and a lot of people are saying it should go to Broadway. Biff the Boss also says the schlocky 1950s B-movie horror music really makes it for me.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Great. But if you didn't think that Alien could be done by a high school troupe, watch Scarface as done by an elementary. But for those watching who haven't seen this is the coolest thing. It's a bunch of kids in elementary school who did Scarface. I think we have like a minute left, so let's just watch that for a bit, and then we'll come back and say goodbye.
Sure. It's so funny.
We could even do picture-in-picture if you want, so we can say goodbye. That's okay. Look what I've done. It's my fault because I called one clip and then but it's so small. Yeah.
Do you need us to guide you to the thing?
Okay, so.
Movies.
Yes, what's the next movie that you want to see? Actually, why don't, before we get to that.
Well, now the next, I will say,
Us.
is Us.
Yeah.
But the next movie I want to see is Endgame.
Okay, yeah, that's true. Before we get to this, maybe this will play us out.
Okay, this will play us out, yeah.
So I want to thank you for coming on. Where can people find you?
I am first of all, follow Beanduck on all socials. That's where you can really find me. Look for Beanduck Productions on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, so on and so forth. On our website, subscribe to our mailing list. Liz is like, don't subscribe to our mailing list. But me, you can find me on, I'm on Twitter, I believe, as Ben the Canadian. I'm on Instagram as Benjamin Anthony Warner. If you like cats, follow me on Instagram.
Bendo Nintendo.
My cats' hashtags are, my cats are Kendo and Misty. Kendo's hashtags are Kendo Nintendo, Kendo my friendo, Kendo rear endo. Misty's hashtags are Twisty Misty, Misty Mischief. She gets into a lot of mischief. So if you like cats, follow me on Instagram. Sometimes I post about work, but mostly it's my cats. But follow Beanduck mainly. Mainly if you follow Beanduck, you'll follow me. And yeah, that's it.
And come on back next time, because you know what was so cool this time, by the way, is the people weighing in with their top fives. We've had people who are not within the small Beanduck family, but are part of the larger extended Beanduck family, and I love having you guys here.
Yeah.
And I think maybe what we'll try and do in future episodes, so now we've done top 5 movies, now we could get more specific. Top 5 villains, top 5 worst movies. Let's branch out, and we'll start doing those. We'll do more tagline trivia. My name is Eric. This is Ben. On behalf of all of us Beanduckers, we want to say thank you. Tune in next week, and tomorrow there's Cosplay Cave. Who do we have on?
And
Cosplay.
Guest hosted tomorrow by Bandit Spurs, who joined us week 1, I believe.
Oh, right. I remember them. They were great.
Rosie's out of town this week, but Bandit Spurs is jumping in to guest host for us tomorrow.
Cool. I wish I had a guest host. Okay, without further ado, this is Scarface as interpreted by an elementary school. I love this. It's fudging awesome.
Good night, folks.
Good night.
It's the fudging bank of the fudging persons. They're the fudging ones that make coke legal. Can't you stop saying fudge all the time? It's boring, Tony. Boring? What's boring? You're boring. Fly, Pelican, fly. Come on, Pelican. You do coke and you kill people. That's wonderful, Tony. I got a fudging junkie for a wife. You son of a bee! Her mom was so polluted. I can't have a fudging little baby with her. I'm leaving you, mother fudger. Let her go, Magical. She gonna love me again.
Tony, that's what I tell you, man. I got married to his sister.
Okay, so son, you want to fudge with me? You're fudge you the best. Wanna play with? Say hello to my little friend. Take that, you cockroaches. I need a fudging heart and take your cards. I take your fudging boots.